And it's been so interesting the way your journey has evolved.
It's been almost 26 years that I've been working, and it just feels like yesterday. I've not done my management in the sense that I don't have an MBA degree. Yet I'm in a corporate or in a tech company.
You're not in, you're leading.
Yeah.
How did all of that shape and influence and get you to where you are today?
A defense background, while we had a lot of facilities in terms of quality of life was great, but financially, it wasn't like, you had a lot of money to splurge. That financial independence was very, very important to me. And I don't know how that started, but it stayed with me.
What is that one piece of advice that you want to give them in terms of taking control of their own finances?
Unless until you have control over your finances, I don't think you have 100% control over your life.
Welcome to Policybazaar presents Over to Her, where power meets perspective and leadership gets much louder. Brought to you by Policybazaar, this is not just another podcast. This is a front row seat to the stories of trailblazing women who are rewriting the rules, smashing ceilings, and redefining success on their terms. Over to Her starts now. And today's guest is a powerhouse who's shaping India's digital future, breaking barriers and making bold moves in tech, finance, and leadership. Meet Roma Datta Chobey, the woman who's not just leading Google India's digital first revolution, but redefining what it means to be a modern leader. Get ready to take notes because Roma Datta Chobey is in the hot seat. Roma, welcome to Policybazaar presents Over to Her. It is so lovely to have you here today. And I want to start by just setting the stage for you because it's been such an incredible journey. You have led change, you have driven innovation. There have been so many career-defining moments as well for you. The weight of the leadership, and this segment is really all about getting to know the person behind that title. So let's begin. How does it feel to be at the helm of such a transformational giant that we all use in our everyday lives at a point of time in your life today?
It's amazing. There have been times in my career where I felt that I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was in banking when the financial crisis of 2008-2009 happened. And this is a moment in time where I feel that I'm at the right place at the right time, not just because of the technology and what AI can do for all of us, but also where India is. So the intersection of technology and India's tech decade, I couldn't be more grateful for the moment that we are living in.
And there has been that transformational shift. So I want to talk about your experience, your first day at Google India. What was that like? Do you have any sort of memorable moments that you'd like to share?
Not specific to the first day, but I remember I joined Google in 2015, and that was the year that we announced, in fact, Sundar Pichai, who's our CEO, announced that Google is going to be a AI-first company. And we were moving away from a mobile-first world to a world where AI was going to be at the core of everything that we are doing. So now when I look back, how significant AI has become in the last 10 years, and those starting, initial moments of AI and Google are some of the things that I remember very, very fondly.
Yeah, I'm sure, because back then, no one was really talking. It wasn't cool to talk about AI, and now we can't live without it, right?
Yes.
And, it's pretty interesting, Roma, because there's a saying that goes that each time a woman stands up without knowing it or without possibly claiming it, she's standing up for all women. Now, you have carved such a strong path for yourself. Do you at times feel the sort of weight of that responsibility? And what would be your advice on uplifting other women?
That's a very interesting question that you ask. I come from a family of women. We are 4 girls. I'm the youngest. I've never really felt the weight of it. I've always had quite a few role models in my life, in my family, at work, etc. Mm-hmm. But I do see a lot of us taking the pressure. I'm generalizing a bit, but I do see it in office. And, I was talking to a strong leader in my leadership bench, Meghna, who leads actually fintech for us and is also She's the captain of Frisbee team for India. So she's a sportswoman, she's a business leader. And she would often tell me that I'm not doing enough and I want to, go on the nonprofit side, etc. And my push to her has been that the fact that you show up as a business leader, as a sportswoman every day, and there's so many people around you looking up to you, including me, and learning from you, that's like really more than enough. So I really firmly believe that how we show up, what we do, that's like good enough, and we don't have to like carry the guilt with us. And also, throughout my journey, I've felt that whenever you want to solve a complex problem, it could be women representation, it could be any underrepresented group, you cannot solve in isolation. So making men as much a part of the solution is so much more important. So everybody kind of doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I do see people, either carrying that guilt or taking that pressure of saying that, there's so many people looking up to me, and am I standing up for them in the best possible way?
Yeah. And it's been so interesting the way your journey has evolved. You started off as a sales manager at a bank, and now you're at the helm of one of the tech giants in the country. Tell us more about how your journey has evolved.
Oh, it's been almost 26 years that I've been working, and it just feels like yesterday. I'll tell you one thing that I am incredibly proud of. I'm not an engineer by education. I've not done my management in the sense that I don't have an MBA degree. Yet I'm in a corporate or in a tech company, and
you're not in, you're leading.
So it also shows that we don't have to, and I often see this, that's why I'm calling it out, that often we limit our ambitions or our vision based on what experience we have had so far or what kind of qualifications we have. Now, I'm not undermining education at all. I feel the amount of work and on-the-job learning that I've done in the last 26 years, that will be equivalent to, say, 5 engineering degrees or 6 MBAs, right? I've learned a lot on the job. But what I want to, really underline is that not having a certain experience or not having a certain qualification should never come in the way of our vision, our ambition. There's so many ways that one can reach the destination. And I have spent a lot of time thinking about what I want to do. And I've always thought about my careers in batches of, like, say, 5 years, 10 years, and things like that. And that's really helped me do things that I've wanted to. So in the short run, sometimes you feel, oh, it's impossible. But when you start thinking in 5 years, 10 years, you are able to plan and work towards it and achieve it. So I think those are some of the things that I'm happy about when I look back at my journey.
So every leader has that moment where there is a shift in perspective. It could be because of a personal moment. It could be because of a challenge or an opportunity. And I want to deep dive into those defining moments that has really shaped your career and your leadership. So let's get straight to it. In our segment, The Turning Point. I think stepping into Google India, especially at a time when we're looking at digital transformation, AI, economic progress, it's all intersecting. What was it about this opportunity that made you say, yes, this is going to be my next challenge?
So it's interesting, and it wasn't as thought through when I applied for Google. I was doing a strategy role in Standard Chartered Bank.
Okay.
And we were thinking about how do we move footfalls from branches to, say, online banking, etc. And there was a deep realization that technology is going to play a very important role. And around the same time, one was looking at how the digital infrastructure was shaping up. Of course, it took build momentum after demonetization, etc. But one could see that for a country of our size, of our population, if we were to do something meaningful at scale, technology was going to play a very, very important role. And that role actually made me realize that, because I was able to see things at scale. And that's when I felt that I want to be part of the digital economy. technology as such or Google as such was not in my mind. I had quite a few digital companies in mind, and I started, exploring the option. It took me almost more than 2 years, I think, to land a job in Google. And then I've literally come up the ranks.
Yes.
So I remember when I joined a technology company and very consciously wanted to be part of it, I felt initially that I was stepping down because I was managing a very large team, a very large portfolio in banking to something which was much smaller. But I was prepared for that because this was the area that I did not have expertise in. I had to build it. So I was willing to step back a bit, learn, and then grow. And then, of course, over the last 10 years, one has realized the importance of technology. One has seen what DPI has done for India, UPI, the digital, we're leading in digital transactions. And there's proof of the pudding to say that we can really, really solve at scale if we deploy technology in the most meaningful way. And we can lead across the globe. At least in digital payments, India is far, far ahead. All that really kind of then shaped my thinking in terms of saying that I want to be part of this digital revolution in some shape and form, create an impact, and specifically in India.
That's wonderful, and sort of been an evolution, like you say, no one specific moment. And it's interesting because just earlier you were telling me about your journey where you grew up, and yes, you were surrounded by women, but it was all in tier 2 and 3 cities.
Yes.
How did all of that shape and influence and get you to where you are today?
So, my dad was in the army, so we would move pack our bags, move every 2 years, and new schools, new friends, new teachers. So one had to become very, very agile. Adaptable, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think those are the skills that, you really need in the world that we live in today. I think more importantly, what really shaped me in my growing up years is that a defense background, while we had a lot of facilities in terms of quality of life was great. One could, learn different sports, etc. The campus, etc. had all the facilities. But financially, it wasn't like, you had a lot of money to splurge. Mm-hmm. And that made me pretty conscious about money. And I remember that even when I was in school, there was a source of income for me. So 9th standard, 10th standard, I was earning through tuitions.
Wow.
During my college days, I was doing print ads, all kinds of odd jobs. But that financial independence was very, very important to me. And I don't know how that started, but it stayed with me. And the other thing, I think that my upbringing and living in different cities and smaller cities, to be precise, shaped me was that the fact that, we would have very limited resources. And I'll tell you, once I wanted to make this lehenga for myself, and I'd seen that in a magazine, and my dad was posted in Udhampur, and it was very difficult to find that there. So I built it from scratch for myself, got some threads, learned how to do it. Long story short, I guess it helped me understand that if you're a little creative, a little innovative, then, lack of resources don't come in the way of your vision. And that's then later on shaped my life, my career in many ways. So I'm grateful for the fact that we moved every 2 years, which made us agile and very adaptable, and also be more creative and innovative because not everything was available everywhere.
Now, financial independence isn't just about numbers. It's so much more than that, Roma. It's about being confident and having control over one's future. So in this next segment, we want to explore your relationship with money, your relationship with personal finance, the lessons that you've learned, and the advice as well that you can impart to the next generation. This is in our segment, Money Matters. In this segment, we want to explore how personal finance revelations have taken place for you, what are the lessons that you have learned, and what is the advice that you can impart to the next generation. So let's talk about financial independence, because it clearly is a game changer for women especially. What would you say was your sort of aha moment when you realized the power of financial security?
like as I said before, being financially independent was key to me. I don't know how and why it started, but it was very, very important to me. But if you're asking about a specific moment, one of the proudest moments for me was when I bought a home in Pune. I was 26-year-old. I was working in a bank and used to get home loans at a subsidized rate. So it was easier.
Okay.
But still, I had to pull in everything that I had to buy that home. And having my name outside the house, the confidence that it gave me was immense. And I chose to buy or invest in a house before I bought a car, because it was like, we moved every 2 years. We never owned a home as such. But it really changed me as a person. It gave me that confidence that, now I have a place that I call of my own. And it changed a lot of things for me. But going back to the larger theme that you were picking up, I have seen and have come across a lot of women and men, from different economic backgrounds, thinking about their financial plannings, etc. And I've seen that no matter, I'm generalizing a bit, but no matter what background or what kind of background we come from, financial independence plays such an important role when it comes to confidence, when it comes to having a voice, when it comes to in our own social setup, having a seat on the table, and things like that, and especially for women.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example which really stayed with me. I was talking to an investor from a VC, a very well-known VC, and she was telling me that, and I was asking her that how many women founders do you invest in, and is there a difference when you come across a woman founder versus a male founder? And she was telling me that when it comes to pitch, when it comes to sharing the idea, when it comes to going really deep into the business model, being able to justify the spends, etc. In fact, she was like, some of the women founders were even better than some of the male founders that she came across. But she said this, and it stayed with me, that when it comes to signing the term sheet, she said in most of the cases, 9 out of 10, they are accompanied with, say, with their father or with their husband, because financial decision and terms and conditions, and it could be the conditioning. So it's not just India, I guess across globe, in most of the cultures for centuries, financial decisions have been taken by men, right? So that thing stayed with me, that imagine you have the risk appetite to start, go for a startup. You have an amazing idea that you've got a shot at presenting it to a top VC, and you've made it, when it comes to signing, you don't have the confidence to sign a loan. And I think that was very, very telling for me.
Yes.
And so I completely agree with you when you say this, that the confidence and financial planning and financial success are all quite tied in.
Absolutely. And like you just said, the fact that males always take that decision when it comes to finance, we have relied on male family members. We still continue to do so. Very successful women continue to do so. What is that one piece of advice that you want to give them in terms of taking control of their own finances, or at least understanding and being aware of what they're signing, what's in their bank account?
I think, when you take control, and when you are planning, and when you are thinking about the vision, the whole exercise is going to be that much more robust. We've spoken about confidence, which is a very important part of it. The other thing I will tell you, I come from banking background, spent almost 17 years across different banks, and there was a lot of financial advice coming my way, just through our lunch conversations, etc. Right? Still, when I would sit on my portfolio with, say, an expert and review it, I would realize that my investments are not as diversified as I thought it or imagined it to be, and things like that. So I would say that doing it yourself, whether you are a beginner or you are like a seasoned banker, the proof of the pudding is in eating it. And unless until you take control and you plan it yourself, I would say it from in my personal capacity, through my experience, unless until you have control over your finances, I don't think you have 100% control over your life.
I want to talk about that aha moment with you, Roma, what it did when it comes to shaping your approach to financial planning. So let's get straight to it in our Insurance Eureka segment. Got the Insurance Eureka segment. And Roma, I want to get in your sense. Was there any particular moment in your life that you truly valued financial planning, insurance, or wealth management?
Many moments. So actually quite a few.
Okay.
So I think when I started working, of course, I was somebody who always liked to keep some amount aside for rainy days. So play it safe, keep some money aside. But I remember when I bought the home and that house, and it was like I'd put in all my savings there, like everything to the last penny. So for me, house insurance was important because I was like, what if something happens? Everything is here. I remember the bank told me that it's a good idea to take a term insurance because you're going to pay EMIs. So, but it didn't hit me much then because I didn't have dependence as such. You know? So I think the insurance, and especially the life insurance bit, I did take one plan which was more from tax saving purposes initially, but it's when my kids were born that it really started, that was the moment when I started thinking that what if I'm not around? What happens to them? The family will take care of them. My sisters will be there, but financially I don't want them to be dependent on anybody. So I think from a life insurance perspective, the kids were really the trigger. And they continue to be the trigger because, it's like I have a vision for them. And then I feel, am I adequately insured? And honestly, every time I've taken those exercises, filled those forms, I've realized that I am underinsured because, your life expands with the way you grow and things like that. And we don't pay as much attention to, upgrading our insurance policies, etc. also accordingly. So that's also a realization that I, in normal times, consider myself to be very financially aware. But every time I've sat down with an expert or say an insurance specialist, and I would realize that, we are not adequately insured. So, those are some of the things that I think as we keep moving from one phase to the other in our lives and how our liabilities or expand or a vision for our life expands as we rise in life, it's so important to go back and check and see if we are adequately insured. Are we planning? The wealth management I think the wealth management aspect has also hit me more as a life stage now that I'm reaching a stage where I'm beginning to think I'm a person who'll work. I think I'll work till the last day of my life, but not always for say money, right? So now,
yourself.
For yourself. And it could be for the meaning or the purpose of it, right? Not necessarily for financial gain. And that's why wealth management has become extremely important for me to say that, do I have a corpus that will help me have that freedom to do things without thinking about, how much money is coming in. So I think different stages have triggered different things, but insurance for sure, clearly, I think after the kids were born, that was such a thing at the back of my mind all the time.
जब इसका ख्याल रखने की जिम्मेदारी हम दोनों की है, तो इसके फ्यूचर की जिम्मेदारी भी हम दोनों की हुई है। इसीलिए मैंने भी अपने हस्बैंड की तरह टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस ले लिया है, ताकि अगर कल को हम में से कोई एक ना रहे, तब भी इसके सपनों में कोई रुकावट ना आए.
And they say that insurance is like sort of your security blanket. You don't want to wake up one day and find that it's not there. You want to have it there, God forbid. You need it. So when it comes to financial planning, are you a risk taker? Are you very conservative? Are you somewhere in between? What would you say?
I think at different phases of life, I've done different things, right? So risk appetite has increased with age and stability. Initially, I was far more guarded. So I remember, I think the first thing I did was recurring deposit. It used to be in back, like the way we have SIPs for mutual funds, which was very safe, and you're like putting something aside every month. But as I have become a little more, stable when it comes to, or have some corpus to fall back on. Now, I think what I really pay attention to is I'm a long-term investor, so I'm not like a daily trader. That doesn't come naturally to me at all. I'm also very cautious about what I pick, what I invest in.
Okay.
And usually it's like a good 3, 5, 7 year kind of a horizon. So that's what has been there. And consistency is something that's important for me. So I think I remember my first salary. I don't know why it was 12,600, number of days or whatever. And 2,600 I put in RD. And that habit is still with me, that I can never blow up my entire salary. There has to be a percentage that will consistently every month get into investments. So that's just stayed with me.
You know, that's interesting because women are always associated as the spenders or the splurgers, but you went for the other S, which is saving. So that is great that you inculcated that from a young age. Now, Roma, we want to get to know you beyond the boardroom. We want a rapid fire round, quick, instinctive answers. And this is PB Quick Hits.
Okay.
All right. Insurance in one word. How would you describe it? What is it to you?
Bliss.
Bliss. Okay. One tech disruption that you wish existed today.
Right now my son is studying in US, and there's so many moments when I want to be in two places at the same time. So I wish technology will make that possible sooner than later.
Teleport ourselves,
Yeah.
I wish. One Google product that you just can't live without.
If I have to choose, I'll select Gemini.
Amazing. What is one book, or it could be a podcast, that shaped your leadership journey?
I think one book that I'm recently reading, and I wouldn't say it's shaped me, but I'm quite inspired by it, is Unreasonable Hospitality.
Okay.
So it's about a chef, and without telling you more about it, but there's so much of inspiration from this person in terms of leadership, as well as how you deal with your customer.
One financial habit that you swear by.
Consistency.
Okay. If not tech, what industry do you think you'd be in?
I would have been something to do with designing. I love Indian textiles, so it would have, and I do a lot of embroidery. So maybe fashion designer, styling, something to do with Indian fabrics.
It's never too late to start, Roma. Okay. What's your favorite way to unwind after a hectic day?
It depends on the day. So if the day's been really crazy, hectic, then I'll need some alone time, or maybe watch something that doesn't require me to use my mind on YouTube, something entertaining. And if it's been a nice, pleasant day, then I like to end my day with my son or husband, having a good conversation, a nice meal.
Nice.
So,
And one leadership lesson that you want to pass on to young professionals.
don't let lack of experience or expertise or any specific requirement come in the way of your vision. Raise your hand. And I really believe that we're never 100% ready for anything. You can be like 60% ready or 50% ready or 70%. So take that plunge, jump in and learn along the way.
Absolutely, because I think it's only when you take the risk that you'll know what rewards lie ahead.
Yeah.
Roma, it has been such a pleasure interacting with you. The fact that you have opened up to us about your personal journey, your professional journey, how you manage money, and of course, what insurance means to you. So thank you for taking the time out.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Policybazaar, for creating this space. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise, and I'm sure everyone else who's watched absolutely will. And that's a wrap on this episode of Policybazaar Presents Over to Her. From navigating the worlds of finance and tech to championing inclusion and shaping India's digital future, Roma's insights today weren't just powerful, but they were a call to action. So to everyone listening, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, whether you're building your own path, or taking that first step toward financial freedom, remember, your power lies in your choices. Own them, invest in yourself, and never stop rewriting the rules. Thank you for tuning in. Stay fearless, stay financially empowered, and until next time, it's over to you.
ऐसी बीमारी से बच पाना आसान नहीं था। अगर मुझे कुछ हो जाता तो दिया और उसकी पढ़ाई का ख्याल कौन रखता? सिर्फ एक सैलरी से घर नहीं चाहता। इसीलिए मैंने भी अपने हस्बैंड की तरह टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस ले लिया।